Emotions play such an important role in creativity, in just the process of creating. And if I can share my own experience of writing for about 10 years now, I know that there have been so many times where I have sat down to write, and it's like all of a sudden all my unresolved emotional issues come to the forefront of my mind, especially if I need to apologize to somebody. And I realize that before I start writing, as I'm sitting there, I will literally have to pull out my phone and text that person and ask for their forgiveness before anything even comes to me that I can write. And I have so many experiences of this. That's why I know about this. But I haven't been able to write or create when I've had to ask somebody's forgiveness, when I've hurt somebody, or I felt like maybe I did, maybe there's a possibility that I did. And it's really crazy. But once I would actually send that message or reach out to that person, and I would come back to my computer, then the words would flow. And it's not like I even knew that this is something that I had to do. And I sat down thinking like, oh, I'm definitely not going to do that, I'm just going to write. No, it's not even something that I was aware of. Wasn't even aware of that. I might need to ask this person's forgiveness. And it's like writing magnifies all my emotional issues, or just even the process of creating, and in a way really makes me a better human being, and probably makes me the most beautiful version of myself that I envision, the most beautiful version of beauty that I envision. And creativity allows me to actually become that person, because I just have this vision of that person. I just know what I consider to be beautiful. I know that when I hear somebody apologize, every cell in my body pays attention, because it's just music to my ears. It's the most beautiful thing that I think I could ever hear someone say. When I hear somebody say I love you, I think that's also something that awakens my body, that I pay attention to, because any expression that transcends our human mind, I think I'm so attracted to, and I resonate with so much. And so somehow the process of creativity, not even just creating itself, right? Not just the outcome or the creation, whatever I end up creating, but just the process of actually sitting in front of the computer and or trying to create something, trying to write, trying to create something. And even when it's something that I do every day, right? Like writing, for example, if there's something that happens one day where something throws me off emotionally, it doesn't matter if I've done it for 10 years straight. If after 10 years, if anything, if there's just one day where I need to apologize to somebody, it's like it doesn't matter how long I've been doing it. It's the same thing. So I've experienced this over like a decade of my life, where I'm really grateful that writing has allowed me to process a lot of my emotional issues. But it's almost like I have to be worthy of the flow. I have to be worthy of the words that come through me. And I've realized this in different scenarios, and even just the possibility of hurting somebody. I remember with my mother-in-law, I thought that there was a possibility that I said something that hurt her, and I was trying to create one of my classes, and trying to work on developing it and writing the description for it. And all I could think about was my mother-in-law, and I literally could not focus on what I was doing. And I can sense when there are certain times that it's more difficult for me to focus. And it's usually because there's something emotional that's pulling at my mind. And so I literally sent her a message, called her, she didn't pick up, so I sent her a message, just even conveying that I may have hurt her. That possibility was enough for me. And after that, I came back and I had, I created my classes. I got a lot of work done. My mind was a lot more at ease. And that happened because I resolved that emotional issue. And so the process of creating not only helps me, like in the process, when I write, through my writing, I process a lot of emotional issues and just a lot of emotions and things that I don't fully understand. I'm able to grasp a lot better through my writing. But certain things like that, like especially when it comes to reaching out to somebody, when I sit down to write, those things become magnified because my mind is used as a channel when I write. It's not it's not the one that's producing. It's simply being used. And so if my mind is occupied with emotional thoughts and feelings and things that are really plaguing me, pulling at me, then it makes sense that it can't be used as a vessel because it's too occupied. And so it's interesting how the process of creating has actually made me a more beautiful human being, because I don't want to send those messages. I don't want to ask for forgiveness. I don't want to say sorry. I don't want to apologize. I don't want to reach out to people. I don't want to communicate with them half the time. But I know in my heart that when I hear those things from a person, any human being, I know that that's the most beautiful version of beauty that I can imagine. And so I guess creativity helps me to become my vision of beauty for a human being. It really helps me to become the most beautiful definition of beauty that I hold for a human being. And so in that sense, I'm really grateful. And I know that if I didn't choose to create, that I could keep myself busy with other things. But I have chosen creativity. I have chosen being a creator, and I will create every day for the rest of my life. So in that choice, in that commitment to myself, I also commit to doing whatever is necessary for that. And it's funny because my first commitment is actually to creating. It's to creativity. It's not even to being a beautiful human being. My first choice, my first commitment is actually to creating. And it's actually through creating that I end up becoming a better human being. Because in order to create, that's what I have to do. That's what I sign up for. So I guess it's not a bad trade-off, right? If I get to be a beautiful human being because I create, then I can't really mind that, even if it sucks a lot of the time, even if it's a lot of things that I don't want to do, a lot of apologies that I don't want to give, a lot of conversations that I don't even want to have. But I still do whatever it takes to be a vessel, because I know that in order to be a vessel, that I have to be worthy of being a vessel. I have to be worthy of creativity. I have to be worthy of something greater than me. And to be worthy of something greater than me, then I really have to diminish my own limits and limiting beliefs and shortcomings and things that I cling on to, and resistance and tendencies where I don't want to say sorry, I don't want to forgive. I really have to obliterate the stories that my mind tells that keeps me small, that keeps me just in this human mind, and that keep me just in me, and in order to be worthy of something greater, right? So it's a really fascinating journey, but this journey of creativity really allows me somehow to become my greatest definition of beauty for a human being. And I guess I'm grateful for that ultimately.